And it is looking like I am in for a breezy day. So it took me a little while last night to find something I felt good with. Once I cleared that area outside of Sterling, where you're not supposed to camp or anything outside of the shelter. It was nice and quiet, at least until about 8 or 9 o'clock when all of a sudden there was music blaring from this direction. I'm not sure if it was a-hole campers or something to do with like ski resort concert way below, and it just sounded a lot closer than it was. It's funny, I'm almost always behind on editing when I come out of town because when I have internet, there's all sorts of other things to like look up, and I'm talking with Jen and stuff like that. So on the plus side, I did actually look it up. I usually don't look that hard at trails before I do them because I want to be more in the moment, not going, oh, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this. It just takes me out of it. See the Sierra when I did the PCT or the CDT overlap thing. Well, as it turns out, this is listed as pretty much the hardest part. I guess I have the Vermont State Highpoint today, and that climb yesterday wasn't just me being wimpy. I'm also a big fan of fingerless gloves when it gets cold. Unfortunately, I have had these since the days when Sport Chalet was a thing. They are the best thing ever. They were like $9, and other than the plastic wearing off, they actually fit my big hands. Because unfortunately, I have a big head, big hands, you know, giant socks, as the kids say. And it is a pain in the butt finding things that'll actually work. It took a fair amount of bushwhacking around last night to find the spot I used. Nice enough spot though, once I actually found it. Trail is down here somewhere. Took kind of a obtuse route to get here. Okay, so I'm a little before, I think, Elephant Cliffs it is. Then I descend down, and then I start the big climb up to Mansfield, which I guess is the Vermont State Highpoint, which I didn't even know I was going to be doing. I probably should have gotten out of camp a little bit earlier since apparently today is going to be one of the harder sections of this trail from what I saw online. Part of why you're never going to see me doing any of the like calendar year Triple Crown or big things like that, as I am the least disciplined person in the bloody world when it comes to getting out of camp in the morning. Between the morning video edits and drinking coffee and just being an inherently lazy person, I'm always out later than I would intellectually prefer. Oh yay. When it's something like the Kansas heat waves or the CDT Great Basin, yeah, sure, I get up early, do what I have to do, but even when I've done things like, Cactus to Clouds out on San Jacinto or Whitney Mountaineers route, when it's not necessary, I'm not starting at midnight. A lot of people seem to do that instead of properly prepping for the trail. I was laughing during the morning edits because I had been told that the hike into Johnson was easy. And which was true. The guy just hadn't mentioned that it was easy compared to the section right after that. But hey, I'm front-loading all the difficulty on this trip from what I can tell. Once I get through the big 4K section and then down to in at the long trail, I think it's more straightforward. And I think the Bent Mackay is more straightforward. I only saw that 50-mile section to connect the AT and the Pinhoti back when I did the Eastern Continental Trail, but other than it being the first hills I'd seen in a while, I remember it going pretty well. It was windy and chilly when I woke up this morning, but wind seems to have died, and per the weather report that just came in, it's supposed to be 77 today. One of the guys that gave me a ride back to trail yesterday was mentioning with the warm, mild days and the cold nights, the foliage is probably going to drop pretty fast. And then I saw somebody left a comment about how, oh yeah, once the foliage drops, then all the rocks get a lot more slippery. One of the slips I had yesterday was due to pine needles. I've been trying to be really careful on the rocks. It's easier going up because I can kind of like kick into it, almost like I'm kicking into snow just to see if my foot's going to slip or not. because a lot of these have moss on them, and that's what got me on the first or second day. But yeah, I get a lot of leaves on the ground on these steep rocky bits. Well, I won't have to worry about outrunning my resupplies for a while, let's just say that. I do kind of miss the days of having 3 cups of coffee being enough to send me jogging up the trail. Granted, kind of hard to jog in this terrain. I was just chatting with some people coming the other way. They all started September 1st or 2nd, so I am well on my way to underperforming on this trail at this rate. Well, that's fun. I just ended up going off trail by accident because I was looking there and I was pretty sure I saw a trail. I saw footprints, pole holes, and there's even a glove. But for the record, that is the trail. Okay, that looks a little more friendly. I was at the bottom of a cliff band. My first turn along the Condor Trail taught me to be careful trying to bushwhack back to trail, basically anywhere other than the Sierra. Okay, Blondie and I have been texting back and forth this morning off and on, and it looks like new shorts, new underwear, and that pack prototype are all going to meet me at Inlet Long Trail, hopefully. Assuming we don't get screwed by the Postal Service again. Okay, I think it's just another 2,000 miles or so straight back up. So many things out here, and where I just think how happy it'd make Blondie if she was with me. I was really hoping to see a moose or two while I was up here. I just ran into another northbounder, and we were chatting about how abusive this was to our knees. He did say everybody had said Mansfield was hard, but it was doable, and that basically the next couple of days are the crux. He said Camel Hump was where it started to feel really hard coming north. One day at a time. At least my tooth socket isn't throbbing every step anymore. Oh, that's depressing. I have to keep moving at this point, but okay, that does look a little more than standard lean-to. That's kind of appropriate. Yeah. Okay, it is 2 o'clock. It is only about 2.6 miles over to Needle's Eye where camping is allowed again, but I'm guessing it's going to be really slow. Fine. So that is the lady from the Butler shelter. Looks like a Long Trail volunteer, so I've been chatting with her and enjoying the view. I am getting more than my share of clear weather so far, looks like. So she was saying that is Lake Champlain and Burlington, meaning I flew in over there and got ferried over there and have been hiking ever since. So this ridgeline is only about 2.5, 3 miles, but I was just telling Brittany back there that, yeah, I am so uncalibrated on my mileage, because normally I'd be like, oh, 9 more miles. Oh yeah, I'll do that today, no problem. Not on this trail. You gotta fight for every mile, seems like. So it looks like that protected zone is 2-ish miles, and then we will see. I was having a lot of fun chatting with a volunteer, but it got chilly quick. Doesn't help thanks to humidity. I'm always soaking wet when I stop. Oh, okay, so that was actually Mount Mansfield. That was the state high point. And instead of getting a summit shot, I was just telling stories like usual. Figures. Huh. This is actually a lot faster going than what I've been on. So there is a gondola that comes up here, so I've been seeing a fair number of people. I guess that's the route you take if you don't hate your knees quite as much as I do. And behold the mighty Mount Mansfield. Okay, if I do not make it to camp tonight, it is because I have been talking way too much. The caretaker there, Jeremy, had actually done the Eastern Continental Trail a few years before me, and he gave me coffee, so he said coffee, and I'm like, oh, absolutely. The funny thing is I had been staring at that building coming down, and I was kind of hoping I was going to get near some sort of a gondola or something that maybe sold coffee. I got pretty chilly during the last part of that climb. So it is now 4:13, not quite done with the summit ridge. I am feeling a lot more confident about making it out of the protected alpine zone here. There are a bunch of shelters, again, none of which I'm hoping to use if I can find something else, so we will see. Apparently the rocky section people were saying was sketchy was that bit right before Mansfield that I scrambled up, which I didn't think was that bad. Probably easier going up than down, though. The coffee was instant, but it was hot, and that really hit the spot. I guess technically I could pull my stove out and make coffee myself on the ridge, but I don't know. Something about encountering coffee along the way. There used to be a ranger in the Sierra named Cindy who was just legendary. She was the horse ranger out of Roaring River. And the 2 times I went by, she invited me in both times and swapped stories over coffee. So if I ever become a caretaker anywhere, I am bringing a 5-gallon bucket of instant coffee, and that is how I am making friends. Interestingly enough, Jeremy, the caretaker who had done the Eastern Continental Trail, when we were swapping stories on various trails, he had actually done the Sheltowee Trace, which was one of the ones I had looked at for here. Seemed just about perfect lengthwise, and I was all but ready to switch plans to that one. That was before Long Trail and Bent Mackay. And then I saw that stealth camping and dog attacks. And I just wanted something a little more straightforward. And for my sins, I decided that the initial part of my rehab through hike was going to be the north end of the Long Trail, because everybody knows that's really easy. I am happy I came out here, though. Love how it smells, views, time of year seems like it is kind of ideal, and I just love hiking in areas that feel different. You know, when I went through the winds on the Continental Divide Trail, everybody was raving about those, and they were pretty, don't get me wrong, but it was like almost as pretty as the Sierra, or pretty as the Sierra, but in a much smaller area. So things like the Southern San Juans or the Black Hills just made a far bigger impression on me. I have really been enjoying the views up here. I am kind of sad I'm going to be dropping back down into the trees for who knows how long. Sadly, it looks like I am back to the green tunnel. Man, that coffee fired me up. Maybe I need to get Jen to start a new business while I'm on trail. We can sell masochist hiker smoothies. You know, fits in the water bottle. It's basically coffee and ibuprofen. It'll be great. Of course. Oh, because who needs knees? Oh, man. Well, that's kind of extra exciting. Oh, what's the switchback? just ran into Detour, who had just done the AT. He said he was with somebody who was in a hurry, so they skipped the Vermont section, and then once he summited Katahdin, he came back down, and then he's been going northbound. I am totally going to be out after dark at this rate if I keep running into people to talk to. One thing that is causing me stress on this trail is the camping. Because like here, I'm on a section where there is water up ahead, but the terrain doesn't look very promising as far as campsite. Looks like I'm on a hillside for a good long while. And the one camp spot up ahead is not even a shelter. It's just a couple of open campsites, like platforms and things. I really don't want to be in close quarters. I have had to make a campsite work in conditions like this once on the AT, but it can be a challenge. There is another shelter like 2 miles and change past that, which, you know, if it's 2 miles and change, that's okay, but this is the long trail. At least in this section, this is kind of the exception. And even there, it looks like it is an enclosed shelter off the trail and doesn't even mention tenting outside. A couple of the shelters around here are, yeah, you got to be inside in the bunks. Keep telling myself, though, from what I remember of the Bent Mackay, it was pretty open, easy camping. It kind of melds in with the Pinhoti, though. Oh, that was such a fun trip. Not the best water source ever, but it's clear. So I'm filled up and I can start looking for some sort of a campsite. Okay, this has me stopping a little early, but it'll work. The trail's up there, maybe 60 feet or more. So feeling pretty good about this. Okay, I am so close to the developed tenting area that I feel a little silly, but that looks like it's a cluster altogether. So I came off. There is some flat ground here. It looks like the long trail's up above and there's some old, maybe not maintained trail over there. And I'm out in the middle of nowhere and found just enough dirt to set my tent up. I love this tent. It fits so much better than anything else. So I only did 10 miles today, but you know what? It was 10 miles that were fun versus 10 miles that kicked my ass, so I will take it. And everybody says things get easier in a couple of more days, so might as well enjoy the ass kicking while I can, huh? Home sweet home. Oh, and this is a happy camp. All alone in the woods. Other than there's some sort of like foghorn that keeps going off down there. I can't tell what the heck that is. I don't think it's just like truck brakes.